Today, I am from Hiroshima University, Katsunobu Imai, and today's talk is about on sustainable self-explanatory executable document. A bit curious title, because in these several years, I faced to a serious cognitive decline. And maybe, for example, Andy or Henaro, I bothered a lot of things to the other people, and I'm very sorry about the fact that my case is suffered from dealing with my mother's dementia. I began to experience dementia-like symptoms too. And I thought it was a quite personal problem, but very recently, just several weeks ago, a researcher recently had a similar cognitive decline from dealing with his parent dementia. And amazingly enough, he could not aware, but he forgot a very important thing. But usually it is never be forgotten by him. And I was actually surprised, and again, this problem is very serious for the 50s or some close to the elder age. And maybe the main motivation is using lifelogging to maintain a complex system is me with ever increasing errors and sensors and communication channels, because maybe we cannot avoid the accumulating errors in sensing abilities and communication channels. And this is a diagram. I actually think about what is my case. And of course, the diagram isn't just an outline projection. And I'm actually not sure, because my knowledge of medical knowledge is very limited. But anyway, I try to improve, update the diagram to just updating this scheme to how to try to find a better way to improve my physical status. And just explaining my symptom, of course, I am now in the process of recovering, I believe, but I am not still sure. But in the worst period, I could not remind the necessity of the notion of checking emails. After a month later, I was surprised because no incoming mails never changed to from unread to read. Everything remained unread. Usually, I soon invoking a mail application to checking. So even if I do not read, I just push the status, change the status from unread to read, even if I do not read. But at this time, I completely forgot the notion of checking emails. And decreasing working memory, the effect is quite serious. Unable to process dependencies on multiple files in different directories. Usually, we execute many files, and sometimes I opened another files in the another directory. But try to figure out the next directory. Process stops because maintain the past works simultaneously. Try to think about opening the different directory. And I apt to lose 30 minutes or more just opening the next directory. And I almost lost the ability of reading, writing complicated text in English. And the more impressive one is I lost the ability of using Microsoft Excel. Because Excel is just one page, and because I try to focus on 2 or 3 columns to add to these columns and place the next new column. But such process exceeds my limit of working memory because I can't use Excel. Actually I couldn't use Excel at the time. It is very impressive. More impressive is I switched to programming language, and importing Excel file is possible because Excel data is huge, contains huge numbers in one page, and it is impossible to cope with. And this type of symptom is very popular in the case of patients of higher order brain dysfunction. And I am usually studying on the game of life or cellular automata related things, but after that I cannot but discuss about this another type of game of life, and because I have to study about the behavior of my status, and so this is my life plan. I frequently use this slide, and my life plan only have 3 ways: die suddenly, die after notified, or this. And above 2 cases is I already have a nice book, how to cope with. But the 3rd case is a problem. Because gradually decreases the cognitive recognition or abilities. So it is quite hard to prepare at the most important timing. And this is, in general, categorized in the dementia. And dementia is memory disorder and disorientation. And in this community, the name is famous, so everyone should know. And once Tommaso Toffoli, talked about a very curious story about knowledge home. This word he used is a bit different context, but almost similar. And I actually like this word because usually dementia patients, when they move to another house, result in worsening the symptom. Of course, because memory disorder and disorientation faced to different places, it is quite hard to cope with. So anyway, in my opinion, I do not want to move from my knowledge home. And then what is my knowledge home is a next question. But anyway, every generation has should have a similar notion and the same similar icons. So for example, key is like this, but after 50, 20 or 30 years, maybe the shape should be changed. And the telephone is maybe changing. And this is a pencil tablet, but it is very impressive. For example, 60 years or when people, a dementia patient who can use iPad in her 60 years or more. I can't actually remember, but anyway, when she suffered from dementia, finally she wrote a pen to write, not by hand or Apple Pencil, because writing, the notion of writing is using a pencil or a pen. So she could not, she completely forget to use finger and write down using an actual real pen to iPad. This is maybe the most important problem. And this is a very intuitive quiz or game. And I just named Hensel and Gretel game and try to write down what things they forgot. So they forgot the way to the house is original, but gradually things are very complicated. And the most important thing is every sentence could be real for you. So, so I actually think about the difficulty needs to be reconsidered. In my case, using spreadsheet might be more difficult than programming. It is actually impressive for me. So a page of Excel file has enormous visual information. It is too enormous for my status with a short working memory. And another things relate to this workshop, natural computing related things, usually emerging process is usually discussed about the researchers of complex systems or artificial life or some. But I actually think that losing process of already emerged functions from a complex system is worthwhile to discuss about because it is internally observable. You can't return to a baby, but this process, losing process, may be observable. And so to what stage can I observe it? So when I lose my will or ability of observing the process internally, and what is a possible device to support to observe the process by me. Yes. And this is a very impressive study about the analysis of a blogger finally suffered from a dementia and gradually loses vocabulary or number of ability of composing complex sentences. But this study is made by another researcher. I actually want to study about the cognitive fluctuation of a decrease of me by myself is a motivation. And of course, finally, dementia is in one way. So my last hope is anyway, as possible as I can, I want to read, write, and move. And read, write, and move is Turing Machine. And this is me. When I first heard the definition of a Turing machine as a model of thinking, it is just kidding. It is impossible to be a model of a thinking system, but I actually now I think it is very reasonable because this Turing machine is one way of time, and tape is of course visible things, and this is a final state machine. And the scanning dementia is scanning area will be shrinking. So the this scanning area is shrinking, and errors in every part of this machine will be increasing. And how to cope with the decrease of working memory is maybe universal Turing machine is like this. So trade-off between tape symbol and the internal state. So if decreasing of the internal state, try to increase the tape symbol is a very, very similar notion. And I am just wondering because the definition of a brain death might be changed in future because cellular automata researchers frequently, usually discuss about the weak universality or a strong universality, and this is a weak universal machine. Unique universal machine is universal with an infinite asymptotically periodic input. So the brain death. But as far as producing a new thing, it is actually alive. So I actually want to think in a weak universal manner. So the dementia with a stick, as a stick is a knowledge home plus asymptotically periodic background and as a driving force. And so once Masami and I discussed about the possibility of interstellar traveling. And is it possible to invoke a spaceship after 1,000 years future or some? And maybe possible, but after the discussion, I considered by myself as about a manned, so the not just a machine, but a manned multi-generational spacecraft. I thought, okay, but where is the instruction manual? invoking and this is a very impressive sci-fi novel written by Heinlein. And after interstellar travel, multi-generationally interstellar travel, people completely forgot the purpose of the journey. And this is just a science fiction, a very future. I thought, but this adventure is not in the future, but very close. Because this my life scheme here. Of course, I actually want to prepare for a system to support my decay, but maybe yellow point, I can't fix the system. And red point is I forgot why I am using the system. And I call this point is a personal singular point. Singular point is here, but I can't escape maybe. So the adventure, my adventure will begin after my red point. A very impressive adventure. Amazing. And what is essential? And maybe time is still okay.
Yeah, please.
22 minutes.
Yeah,
And maybe then what is essential is anyway the most important thing is aside from others, forget everything. It is essential for me to be able to deal with documents and accompanying scripts even if my cognitive abilities decline. So just think about the if you are X years old, documents are understandable and executable after 90 minus X years is essential. And of course, now and in future, a cognitive level should be changed. So now we can do is easily will not last, of course. And just 30 years ago, I was a student. Only now, Excel and PostScript files and a few common Lisp files properly studied with comments and execution cases is only available. Every other file is lost. And maybe the importance is, this is the Japanese word, ikkenshoru is, I'm not sure the English word, dosha. Is definition is all the papers relating to a case. So maybe only this style could survive. But integration of ability to finish a dosha is very skillful ability and soon fast to be lost. And of course, understanding ability to compress dosha is also lost in due time. And this is recently I found news because of the stop of Flash. Many information should lost. And another important thing is what is a document understandable? Is I have to define if a self-explanatory executable document is understandable. And if a self-explanatory executable document is executable, composable, and ideal document should be, I can understand and execute the document. And there exist others. And with the help, I can execute and understand. And without help, others can understand and execute documents independently of me. So these three is quite important. Oh, 5 minutes. And so this is a list I do not explain. I have no time. But combination of language and the document, there are many experimentally and product level system proposed, but almost all is died now because of this reason. Maybe this is but Mathematica only survives in these 30 years because anyway, the language specification actually includes the specification of its documents and the execute environment itself, and has anyway survived 30 years. I'm not sure, but time is critical, and in my opinion, someday, my case is Japanese sentences including abstract mathematical descriptions is reasonable to executable document. But so far, it is impossible. But Mathematica is anyway a second choice. So this is a very rough distance to me. Of course, the Japanese is very close. Maybe the next is the mathematical formula. Mathematical Common Lisp English C is very far. The meaning is the word subtract from 2 from 6 is first lost and finally 6 minus 2 will be lost. Maybe I should use this. I shouldn't use this is the meaning of distance. And so my Mathematica file is like this, full of Japanese, is important because this is an essential thing. And of course, a lot of data I lost because of the discontinuation of application. So escape from Mathematica is also worthwhile to discuss about. And from here is just a topic of how to use Mathematica. So this is not so big problem. So anyway, thank you for listening to my talk.
Thank you very much for very impressive talk. Yeah, this talk includes many aspects, so probably many people have opinions. Please go ahead. Anita, please go ahead. Oh, I cannot hear. Okay, please go ahead.
Katsunobu,
yeah, please.
I'll share a screen.
Oh, okay.
Thanks.
Unfortunately, not shared.
Pedro wanted to ask something. Pedro Marivan.
Okay, many thanks. I think it is fascinating the dynamics, the limits, and the laws of memory. And I am very interested because Dunbar number tells that if you are in a group, your memory limits to interact with the group is around 150. And this is really a quantitative limit to be in a cohesive group. And many companies, many institutions are paying attention to this limit, because otherwise you lose cohesion. And then it is a memory limit, quantitative. And I am very interested in the quantitative limits of memory. And I have found very little literature, very few literature. And there is the work of a famous Argentinian novelist, Jorge Luis Borges. He has worked a lot on memory. And quantitatively, I have found a 20th century, the first part of the 20th century, Miller, about that we have capability for 10,000 different ideas along our lives. So I was curious on your opinion about what could be the quantitative limit for memory.
Yes. The fluctuation of working memory said to depending on sympathetic excitement. So if you want to chase escape from a tiger or some animals, you have to focus on a very a thin area of escaping things is everything. So usually sympathetic overexcitement causes a decrease of the capacity of working memory. This is not directly related to a short-term memory and long memories. But so anyway, if a person faced to a very serious problem and a very continues a very long time in nervous system state is over excitement, then maybe you can't control the proper state of the amount of working memory. For example, because maybe working increase or decrease of working memory needs to be controlled, because sometimes human needs to enlarge working memory. Sometimes try to reduce the size. For example, pain is also controllable, because if you want to escape from fire, pain ratio is very, very increasing, because the most important thing is to escape from fire. So your brain can control pain threshold. But usually such control is invoked by the excitement of nervous system, and particularly the sympathetic nervous excitement is a key to change the threshold or size of memory. So maybe 1,000 or some number is important for a particular situation. But anyway, working memory is the size of working memory can be controlled. Is it okay to?
Yes, thank you very much. We are very. I'm very sorry for that. We behind the schedule, so please utilize the chatting during the talk if you like. So I would like to move on the next presentation. Thank you very much for Professor Imai.